Hi again, this is Mark Horton and we're looking about European Inter-Parties Patent Review, otherwise known as opposition before the European Patent Office. We've looked at the opposition procedure from the beginning and now we're up to the stage where we are receiving a summons. So what has happened is the opposition has been filed, the proprietor has had an opportunity to respond, the opponent has had an opportunity to respond further. There may have been some further communications, but in any case, a time will have come when the European Patent Office will issue a summons, and that summons will tell you the date on which the hearing will take place. The chances of changing that date are quite small unless there's a very, very good reason, and therefore you need to put that in your diary and set the time aside. Now the summons will tell you not only the date and the place of the proceedings, and the proceedings may well be in Munich, but they could also be in The Hague, for example. Possibly maybe in Berlin, but less frequently so. So you've received this summons, and the summons will have the preliminary opinion of the opposition division. This preliminary opinion is basically setting out from the point of view of the examiner, the primary examiner, usually from the original grant proceedings, the understanding of all the arguments which are on the table. My understanding is that this doesn't normally have much substantive input from the other examiners which will be present in the opposition proceedings. So bear in mind that what you're looking at is the view predominantly of one person, and also it's a preliminary review, What you'll find is that there will be a preliminary opinion of the examiner who took part in the original grant proceedings, and this is the view usually predominantly of that one examiner. It may include input from the other examiners. However, you should assume that opinion might change when the other examiners get to look at the case in much more detail, and it may well be that the opinion presented will change later on. So nevertheless, this will give you some important pointers. It will tell you about the likely initial review. Is there lack of novelty? Is there a realistic added matter objection? Is there a sufficiency of disclosure objection which is really worth the time of day? And what might be the position on inventive step? Usually this summons and the provisional opinion will be relatively short. We're only talking about 4 or 5 pages, even though we might be talking about 20 or 30 documents, we will be talking about 40 or 50 pages of various submissions from the various sides. Now, it will, however, usually give you a very good pointer. It will tell you what the issues are that you need to concentrate upon. However, in my experience, you mustn't really be complacent at all. There might well be a statement, for example, that there is no issue on added matter, but opponent could maybe really reinforce that in a hearing, go through it in detail and win on that point. So you should always be prepared, even if it looks like the summons is positive in your point of view, whether you're the proprietor or the opponent. So you've got the summons and you now need to do a careful review, and you now need to be thinking, well, are there additional documents which have come to light in the intervening time? Are there commercial developments which alter the overall position? And it might well be, particularly if there's only one opponent and one, of course, the one proprietor, then it might be that there's a commercial negotiation to be had, a realistic discussion where, for example, an opponent could be offered a license to the patent if they would unequivocally withdraw the opposition, in which case it's very unlikely that the European Patent Office will carry on with that opposition. So again, this is a time when looking at the overall case, trying to work out the strengths and weaknesses and deciding whether it's worth continuing, what might need to be substantiated, what additional documents may need to be filed. And in this summons, there will be a time for the latest submissions to be made before the oral proceedings, and I'll cover that in the next video. Thank you.